Good morning. I speak God's favor, God's peace upon you today, even as I bring to you life today from Deuteronomy chapter 12. Deuteronomy 12. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 12 speaks about worship. Okay? So I won't go into the verses, but these few aspects Moses seems to be bringing out from this chapter regarding worship. So the first thing is this: we need to know what worship is. So if we're going to talk about worship, then it needs to be clear. What is it? It's one of those words that we speak about a lot, especially in Christian settings, but maybe we do not have a better grasp of what it is. Worship happens when we recognize and honor a person or something is worthy. Worship happens when we acknowledge that someone or something has greater value. They are worthy. They are deserving. Now, I like saying that none of us deserves anything. If there is any being that deserves anything, then it's God. You and I, there's nothing we deserve. As a matter of fact, everything we have all those just by grace. It's just an act of mercy. But God deserves everything, including worship. Worship is to honor something we love and submit to, or bringing our reverence to something or someone we have chosen to submit to. Okay? Now, I use the word chosen carefully and intentionally in this case, because there are times when we offer what we might call worship to someone, but maybe it's because we are coerced by the law, by the regulations, or even just forced by people to offer what we might call worship. God doesn't need any worship that comes out of coercion. When we come to the Lord and we acknowledge Him as God and as someone who deserves all that we are, we do that by choice. It should not be out of coercion. We choose to submit ourselves to Him. When we worship God, we recognize God's supreme worth, and respond to Him in humble adoration. We are created for worship of our Creator. That's why you and I breathe, so that our response to every breath we are given is worship to He who gives it to us. Now, what I've just said suggests then that we could be, there's a possibility of according someone or something worship that does not even deserve it. Let me repeat that. There's a possibility of us according someone or something worship, and yet they don't even deserve it. So what makes God deserving of our worship? He made us. No one made you. No one made me. He made us. And so He deserves that. So that leads to the next thing of who then do we worship? It is God. In our African culture, we find ourselves worshiping many false gods. And this could be traditional gods that were made in the form of living things. Could be animals that are made and people bow down to. Frogs, fish, snakes. And we sometimes worship ancestors or non-living things also. Israelites did this as well. Time after time, they turned their worship to things, even people. And this made God very angry with them. For instance, the book of Deuteronomy alone, God warned 33 times against worshiping other gods. Why? Because they had the habit of going back to worship other gods. Okay. And God knows that we are all prone to doing that. Someone does you a favor, instead of just, a courteous thing of gratitude, you want to stretch it and elevating them into the place of God. The Bible shows that only God deserves our ultimate loyalty. When people refuse to worship God, their minds become dark and they become confused. And God abandons them to do whatever shameful habits or behavior they choose to do. You do not want that to happen to you. Let's worship God so that our minds can remain lightened and free to commune with Him. So, what is worship? Is our response to He who made us by giving Him, supreme worth and humble adoration. Who do we worship? It's Him, God. How should we worship God? How should we worship God? Jesus said that true worshippers will worship God in spirit and in truth in the book of John. And this worship is the kind that comes from the heart, which is spirit, and not just lip worship. Elsewhere, Jesus said, you worship me with your mouths, but your hearts are far. God cares so much about the consistency of the state of our hearts and what we say and how we conduct ourselves. Our worship to the Lord must be whole, or it expresses our whole submission to the Lord. We worship in reverent submission to God, fully submitting ourselves to Him. We do not worship truly when we refuse to obey God. We can't say we worship, we honor God, and we keep disobeying Him. We worship in celebration of God's goodness. His goodness and mercies follow us every day. And we just want to take that for granted. We need to take that and reciprocate worship. We worship through obedient lives. And that's how then what we say as worship is tested through our conduct. We worship as an act of grace. He does all the work. How do we respond? Just worship, acknowledging who He is and what He does for us and even through us. We worship the Lord with other believers, and that's why congregational worship is very important. Lastly, where do we worship? In the same conversation that Jesus had with the Samaritan woman, where He talks about true worshippers worshiping the Lord in spirit and in truth, He also says that a time has come where it doesn't matter where you worship the Lord. Worship should not just happen at a particular place. No. Worship is something that should be happening everywhere, anytime. Anywhere you spend your time, whatever you're doing there, our attitude and disposition should be, this is worship to the Lord. I hope that makes sense. God bless you.